What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. All right, so this video is going to be basically a part 2 in the series of what do you do with a home inspection report. Okay, this is going to be geared more towards the buyer that's receiving the home inspection report on a home they have under contract, and now they have the home inspections done. You've paid the inspector. You've got a nice big fat report full of lots of pretty pictures. Sometimes they're not pretty, they're ugly. They got lots of information, a lot of which is fairly confusing to you. You've sat down with your realtor, agent, whoever, hopefully, and they're going to tell you kind of the general stuff that's going on. They're going to recommend things to ask for, blah, 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 blah. If you haven't seen the other video, go back and check out what to do with an inspection report. I'll leave a link down here somewhere. But this one's going to be kind of dedicated more towards the information that you've received, and then who do you talk to about some of the things? How do you determine items that you need to have fixed ahead of time? Should there be items fixed ahead of time? How do you get an estimate on the items that need to be fixed, and so forth? This is, again, dedicated towards buyers. All right, so before we get started, once again, do me a favor. If you're new to the channel and you think this information will be helpful, hit that subscribe button. If you found this information helpful here or any of the other videos, make sure you hit that thumb on the way out. Click the like button. That doesn't link you to me in any way. Again, it just helps get the algorithm up on these videos so these videos can be shared with more people like you that are searching for this information. Also, to make sure that you kind of help me keep going and literally buy me more time to do these videos and sit down and do them, go check out builtbybaileys.com. Find some merch that you may like. I really appreciate if you guys do that. That helps get me to a place in the day where I actually can literally buy myself time to sit down and do more videos for you guys. I love doing these things. I want to get more information out. This channel is all about home building, construction, real estate, entrepreneurship. Also, don't forget about the podcast, Built by Baileys, on all audio platforms and right here on this channel. Okay. Formalities out of the way, let's talk about home inspection reports for a minute. And now that you've received one, and I've had a ton of questions and other information that's been requested of me, even reviewing inspection reports, so forth, which I don't mind doing, but you got to understand what you're doing with this thing. And let's just go ahead and put a video together, and hopefully this can answer a lot of questions. All right, so that inspection report's sitting in front of you. You've got major items on this inspection report that your realtor is saying we need to have these taken care of. All right, who do you call? Who do you give it to? Do you just hand it over to some contractor and have them give you an estimate? How does this all work? All right, certain things you need to understand first. There are going to be items in this inspection report that may need to be remedied or repaired before you can close on this property. What are those items? A lot of lenders will not finish underwriting and fund this home until these items have been taken care of, and you need to know which ones they are. It depends on the lender, but for the most part across the board, some of these items need to be repaired, meaning by the seller before closing. It doesn't mean you can put money into escrow anymore, which comes to you at closing to then go ahead and pay for these items after you buy the home. These lenders are now saying, nope, certain things need to be remedied or repaired before you can close. What are those items? All right, number one, that would be anything that has any sort of integrity or structural item to the house, i.e., repairing or replacing the roof. If you've got damaged roof from hail damage, wind damage, so forth, and it's in the report stating as is, you need to have this repaired or replaced by a licensed professional, meaning these are the guys you need to call. Licensed roofer, in this case, would need to be called to come out and evaluate what's going on with the roof based on the inspection report, get an estimate to replace the roof. This is something you can do. The seller can also do this, but it helps facilitate it if you kind of step in and have this stuff kind of done. This is one of the items that a lender most likely will not allow the house to be funded until the roof is replaced. And that means documentation for permitting so the permit is pulled and then signed off and the permit is closed out, meaning the work has been done satisfactory to current code. Okay? That's one item that you probably cannot have an escrow or can wait to repair after you buy the house, because if you think about it, If the roof is leaking, everything inside the house is going to be damaged, and then the lender is sitting on a house that's going into disrepair. They're not having it anymore. Make sure, as they're saying, make sure that's done before you close. Show me the documents at or before closing, and we'll get you funded. Second item, anything structural. So in the home inspection report, for example, you have structural integrity items. There are horizontal cracks that have been identified. Again, I did a video on this if you want to learn about some of the structural things to look at during an inspection or just in general. I did one on hydrostatic pressure and what it is, what that looks like in a foundation wall, etc. Go back and check that video out. Those are the items that, again, a bank is not going to lend on until they're actually repaired, signed off. And again, in something like this, you probably have to have an engineer come out, write a letter. Again, permits are pulled, repair work is done. These are things that most likely will not be allowed to go into escrow or be repaired after closing, because if you think about it, if there's anything integral about the home that's starting to fail and you still want to buy it, the bank's going to say, no, repair it. Tell me it's repaired. Tell me it's remedied. I don't want the house falling down if I'm going to lend on it. Makes sense, right? Okay, so some of those items will probably not be allowed to go into escrow, meaning given money that is held by the title company and then paid out to you after closing to then take on yourself and repair. And the other reason for that is a lot of homeowners over the years have taken that money at closing and just said, woo, I got an extra $5,000-$6,000, and they go buy a new car, they go buy just frivolous items. Now they don't have the money to remedy those issues, and now the house is going to go into disrepair because these are major items. Bank's screwed, right? They're left in a bad spot. I saw this a lot in the early 2000s, 04, 05, 06 even. We all know what happened in 08. So, all right. So another thing would be health and safety items. Anything that's identified as potential mold or environmental issues in the home. Bank's not going to lend on that unless those are remedied and shown by licensed, certified professionals that those are remedied. Documentation has to be provided before closing. Let's just say there's identification in the report that there's possible mold because of certain items, thermal bridging, water infiltration, negative sloping and grading, whatever. Have somebody come out, evaluate it, look at it, and determine if it needs to be repaired. If it does, again, those items most likely are going to have to be remedied. You can have mold tests done at that point. And another good example, which I always recommend during a home inspection, is getting a radon report in areas where we have high radon. Here in Colorado, we got a lot of rock in the soil. We got a lot of radon around. Make sure that thing is tested and documented if you need to have radon mitigation installed. Again, that's an item I know for a fact most lenders out here will not allow to slip through the cracks, pun intended, unless it's done ahead of closing. All right. All the other items that may or may not need to be done, you'd like to have them done. They are issues that you see, but the lender will fund regardless of these items, but you're working with your agent and you're trying to determine, do I do these or not? How do I find numbers and estimates, and who do I give this to in order to figure out if it's worth doing or how to do it? i.e., electrical issues that come up. You're going to see a lot of inspections where there's the panels opened up, the main panel's opened up by the inspector. They're going to note what's going on in the panel, what they recommend should be looked at or be done, so forth. These are things that you need to have a licensed contractor come out and look at. Now, I've had questions on this part of it is, do I just send the report to a contractor? And that's a very loose term. We'll go out into that in a second. But do I send this to a contractor, or do I need to have them come out and look at the home first? Here's your answer. It depends on what it is. Any of the structural issues, roofing, all that stuff, you got to have a licensed contractor come out and look at it. Most of the time, a home inspection report is very generalized. It's fairly vague to someone like me. And just based on a few pictures, it's hard for me to determine what is going on, and I need to see it. Now, keep in mind, a lot of home inspectors, well, probably the majority of them, don't have a vast or broad construction background. It's actually fairly easy in a lot of states to get home inspection business started. A lot of states don't even require certification or licensure. So it could be a 2 or 3 week program. Someone's saying on a whim, I want to be a home inspector. Well, they go through this 2 or 3 week program and now they're off inspecting your home. they're going to be very vague. I'm not saying that they're bad inspectors. I'm just saying that they don't have a lot of experience in looking at certain things. And so the report being handed to me may not make a lot of sense, which is odd to think about. But some of those things have to be addressed by someone like me coming out. Now, when you say contractor, it depends on the item that you're talking about. Is it an electrical issue? A lot of times, an electrician can look at some of this stuff and just read the verbiage and say, all right, well, if these are true, then here's my price to remedy these things. Replacing outlets, swapping out breakers, upgrading a panel, so forth. Electricians can ballpark that or even give you a pretty solid estimate based on that report. Same thing with plumbers and HVAC contractors. Again, all of these people need to be licensed if you're going to have them do the work. But these items, a lot of times in an inspection report, can be determined on cost based on just looking at the report. I like to call that the MEP and roofing group, all right? Mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and roofing group, again, can determine an estimate or a price for you without having to come out. That's important because you don't want to waste too much time with someone like me. They may charge you to come out based on the things that you're asking for, but you also want to expedite the process. And if you have to schedule with them to come out, they may be 2, 3, 5 weeks out, especially right now with everybody as busy as they are. You may not be able to fit that in before you close, and you kind of want to know, how big of a cost is this? Should I buy the home, or should I use the inspection report to object, remove from resolution, withdraw from the contract, and start looking for another home again? All right, I get it. You want to know what these things cost. Is it worth it? Should you move forward? Should you not? Okay, that's the whole point of the inspection objection, right? So outside of the MEP and roofing items, you're going to have to call a licensed general contractor or an engineer to come out and look at the rest of this stuff. I'm just going to say the inspection report's not going to be enough. So that's kind of the rule of thumb on what to do with that report and that information, and when do you call somebody, who do you call, so forth. A lot of times in that report, it'll dictate who you should be in touch with regarding certain items in the report. But again, if it's mechanical, electrical, plumbing, or roof, most likely you can just send the report to somebody and they can give you an estimate. Outside of that little group, you're going to have to call somebody in to take a look at it. All right? Hopefully that answers most of your questions. If you have more, drop them in the comments below. Again, on the way out, if this was helpful, hit the thumbs up button. I really appreciate you guys doing that. We need to get this information out to more people. I want to help. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget about that. Check out the merch, builtbybaileys.com. That helps me buy more time to do more videos, and I love to do them, but I got to pay my bills too. So cool merch, lots of stuff on there, not just hats, shirts, athletic gear, all kinds of things. Check out the podcast, Built by Baileys on every audio platform, right here on the YouTube channel. That's it for this one, guys. Hopefully that helps. Until next time, keep building.